y'all. How you perking? I hope you perking good. So, Roe v. Wade was in fact overturned, and I did do a reading on that weeks ago, maybe even months ago at this point, I'm not sure, and the comments have been filled with, we need an update. We need an update in light of everything that's happened, in light of the fact that half of the country is celebrating and half of the country is freaking the hell out. We need to figure out what's going to happen. There are people here that are saying this is like a Handmaid's Tale. Apparently a show on either Netflix or Hulu or something like that. I'm aware of the show. I have never seen the show. And people are wanting to know, are we falling into that? Or is that the direction we're going into? Is this going to get really, really bad, really, really scary, really, really fast? So we are going to take a look into this today to see what kinds of answers that we can get for all of y'all. So, I am a licensed mental health clinician as well as a spiritual intuitive, and we are going to take a look at this tea with the tarot right meow. Okay. Let me go ahead and pull up the cards over here and move this microphone right here with Penelope and her matching greens. Trying to get her to match Mama over here. I'm trying to put the green on to channel Mother Earth, Gaia, Earth energy, to see if we can be grounded and stay grounded as we're doing this reading right here. And of course, as always, this is all alleged, just my interpretation, okay? All alleged, just my interpretation. Alrighty? I have a real good track record here on YouTube if you want to watch any of my previous videos. I even have a proof playlist that every once in a while I have time to upload a video to show stuff that was proven to come true out of my readings. I am regrettably incredibly behind on that, so there's a ton more shit that's actually come true from my readings than I actually have on that proof playlist, but there's a sampling of some things there, at least that. So as I get shuffled up here for us to take a look into this, just a reminder that there is a Perk Squad here. If you see the blue join button below under the next to the subscribe button, also a link in the description box. There's a Perk Squad if you'd like 5 extra perks or more than that even, where we do exclusive videos, exclusive posts. We have weekly forecasts and also video shout outs like this one. So shout out to you, Keisha Barauskas. Is that how you say your last name? Barauskas? Either way, shout out to you. And thank you for being a member of the Perk Squad. Happy to have you. Happy to have you. Wanted to shout out Perk Squad member here. Alrighty, y'all. So let's dive into this. And just to let folks know, on my last Roe v. Wade video, I did have some folks being like, well, you're really chipper, or you're really glib, or, you know, you're really just some kind of way. And I just want to speak to that for a second and say I'm sorry if I come off as cheeky or as excitable or as, you know, not taking something seriously. I really do apologize if I come off that way, because that is certainly not my intention. It's just my personality to be a bit over the top. And when I'm channeling energies like this to do a reading, in order to channel the energies of my spirit guides, I have to be vibrating at the level of spirit guides, which means I have to have a high enough energetic level and vibration to be able to be adequately in tune with them. So that means I personally, and I think that this kind of goes for a lot of other readers and psychics out there too, but I personally can't be feeling super low, scared, pissed, sad, you know, all of those feelings. I can't really allow myself to be there if I'm wanting to read and connect to higher energies. If I'm trying to read cards from a place of sadness, anger, despair, you know, any of those quote unquote negative feelings or low vibrations, then I will connect to spirits that match that energy, and they will be the ones giving me information, which means it will probably be inaccurate, it will probably be crap, and it will probably be terrifying. And so I can't allow that to happen, you know? So I have to kind of keep my energy up here for me to be able to read as accurately as I possibly can. And so that might come off as me not taking something seriously, or me not thinking that this is, you know, intense or whatever. And I don't ever want to come off that way. So I apologize in advance if and when I ever do come off that way. Also, just to mention, as I'm reading cards, I'm doing this in real time live with this camera. And I don't know about y'all, but have y'all ever read on or spoke about difficult topics live in real time and accidentally said the wrong word here or messed up something there or whatever? It's hard to be completely perfect and completely inoffensive with your language all the time when you're, you know, doing something right off the cuff like this. So just have a little grace with me. Again, all alleged, just my interpretation, just a girl reading cards here trying to help you out. And, you know, this was heavily requested, so I'm just trying my best here. So thank you in advance for understanding all those things. Alrighty? So let's get right into this. Okay. People are really worried. If this is going to get really bad, really fast, if this means that, you know, all these things are going to start, quote unquote, going backwards, regressing, whatever. And people are just wanting to know what it is that we can be looking forward to as a result of this decision of Roe v. Wade being overturned. What's next, what's coming, you know, anything that we can know from the spirit guides about this. So let's see what we've got to say right here. Let's see what we've got to say. Alrighty. So let me see. Do I want any extra context? I do believe so. I want some context up over here on this one, and some context up on this one, and let's do it on these two over here too, because why the hell not? Why the hell not? Alrighty, so taking what we're looking at right here, again, not everybody sees this decision as a bad thing. So I want to honor that there's both sides to this. You know, some people are feeling great, some people aren't. I understand this is a super emotional and contentious topic. So as we write down in the comments, I'm choosing, at least right now, to not turn off the comments, because I want people to be able to voice their opinions and express themselves. I don't want to silence people. I never want to do that. That's why I've never cut off comments so far. However, that is contingent upon people being able to express themselves in a way that has some common decency to your peers here in the group, and to me in the cards, and you know, all of it. Just common decency, kindness, politeness. We're really good about that on this channel, actually. You know, we've got a great community here, but I always like to emphasize that. I understand this is super highly emotionally charged. Not everybody feels bad about this situation, and in fact, I've got to say, with the Sun card here, there's a baby on the card, you know, and so it's kind of like, well, in some ways, in some cases, this could be a good thing for some babies, you know, maybe some not so much if they're born into horrible environments and put into a foster care system and yada yada yada, but for some, this is looking like a good thing. There's going to be people that fall on both sides, like I said. Now, however, moving over with this is kind of a a quickening, a pace that is speeding up. The high wands are always stuff that's happening a bit with a quickness, and we get this Eight of Swords on here. As you see by this Eight of Swords, this is a bit of a victim mentality type of card. This is a card where people feel like my hands are tied. You know, it's like this woman feeling like I'm tied up, I'm bound, I can't do anything, I can't see anything. You know, what the fuck am I supposed to do about this? And so this is juxtaposed next to that. This is really highlighting the two camps of people, how there's, you know, the one camp that's like, whoa, that happened fucking fast, and now I feel completely bound and like, you know, my hands are tied and I'm really, really scared and unhappy, right next to the people over here that are like, yes, this is a good thing, awesome. Now with this, I will say too that this energy can also be a travel card. So I do see that there is possibility of travel for people, which is something that I know has been discussed. Like, oh, if you live in a state like my state, South Carolina, I live in a state that's, what do they call it? A trigger state or whatever, that, you know, has very strict rules on this whole ordeal. That they're saying, you know, you can go to another state if you need to, you know, if you're able to. Not everybody is, you know, financially or physically or whatever able to. They give that option. This is showing that it looks like there will continue to be options like that. So for people who are scared that there will be that option will be removed. I know that that's a question right now, that there are some people that are like, yeah, well, what if states start, you know, criminalizing that option, or saying, you know, penalizing people for trying to travel outside of their state to gain legal access to this service. I'm trying to not say the A word, ABORTION. Don't know if I'm allowed to say that on here. So about people leaving their state to gain legal access to that service in another state, there are people that are like, well, what if we start getting penalized where that becomes something we can't do? Right now, for the near foreseeable future, I don't see that as being something on the table, that fear, that worry, that concern. At least for the foreseeable near future, I see pathways remaining open. Now, I don't know if this is pathways as in above ground or pathways as in sneaky little loopholes to be able to do these things where it flies under the radar and people can't really track that or follow that. I'm not sure which, you know, this might fall under. But I do still see that as being something that is accessible to the people who are already able to do that. Like I said, I understand there's going to be people who physically or financially would not have been able to do that regardless. And I understand that that's scary and sad for a lot of people. So I'm honoring that here. But for the people that would otherwise be able to access this option, I do see that option remaining open, even if it's a loophole type of way. So I'm just throwing that out there for the people who had that concern as one of their big fears. Okay, so this is a really hard one to try to mince words and kind of get out there. So please, I apologize if I'm repeating myself and things like that. This isn't easy, okay? This isn't easy to say and do, but I'm doing this because people are begging for this reading, and it's an important topic to cover. So now over here, what we're seeing, y'all know who this card always, not always, but often represents in my readings. This is our President Joe Biden card a lot of times. He's coming up in the reverse. Y'all know that when people come up in the reverse, it points to two different things. Either it's because they are or have done or are doing shitty things, or it's because they are in a difficult, disadvantaged type of position. Here, in terms of which one does this apply for President Biden, we've got the Four of Swords here. And this is kind of an inaction card. I mean, look at this. This is kind of like I'm just laying there. I'm not really doing much. An inaction card. And so what I'm seeing here is that there is going to be an incredible increasing number of voices kind of lashing out against him and his administration for not doing enough. For not doing things and not doing enough. I know that there have already been voices saying these things for, you know, some time. I'm aware of that. But this is like amplification. So we're talking protests, potential riots. We're talking, you know, campaigns of sorts, grassroots things, any number of things that can fall under that overarching umbrella. I'm talking this is going to get loud. This is going to get loud. And there's going to be a lot of pressure. And the thing is, people are not going to accept performative action. I remember, you know, back in 2020 and 2021 when there was, you know, a big upswing of the BLM movement and things like that, and people were criticized for taking action in just a performative way and not in a substantial way, you know, and arguably valid that they were criticized as for such. And I'm seeing that same level of acute criticism of people seeing through phoniness. So like I'm seeing this whole, you know, oh, but we're doing this, or oh, but we understand that, or oh, but we're trying this, or you know, we're really gonna put this out here, this is our next step. You know, I'm seeing them say like the things that they're gonna do or whatever, but I'm seeing people see through that in a way that they're like, bullshit and fuck you because XYZ, you know, that kind of thing, like really holding people's feet to the fire and holding them accountable. Ooh, holding people's feet to the fire. That was an interesting way to word that. Okay, you know, whatever. We'll put a pin in that, spirit. Wow, okay. They give me some weird things to say, and a lot of times I don't think anything of it. But just as an example, remember when I was talking in a previous reading about the about like sperm and an egg. Oh, wouldn't it be weird? I was like, sperm and an egg? Why am I talking about that? Wouldn't it be weird if the topic actually was, you know, something sexual or something about reproductive stuff or whatever? And then boom, 2 or 3 days later, the leaked opinion about this possibly being overturned came out 2 or 3 days after I said that. And it was like, see, I said it for a reason and I didn't even realize. And so I always make a, you know, point to notice some of the words that come out of my mouth that I didn't intend to come out of my mouth. Because oftentimes that's very telling. So, anywho, so I'm seeing this come down the pipeline about the travel aspect. I'm seeing this come down the pipeline about President Biden and his administration and possibly even the entire Democratic Party. I don't know. All of that kind of blends together when I'm looking at cards. It doesn't always parse itself out. I'm seeing a lot around that. Here they're dropping down, the spirit guides are dropping down their bottom lines. And when I see the bottom lines get dropped down, I'm looking over here. This is complete and utter anxiety and paranoia from some people. And this is like, listen, something's got to give. Something has got to give. And so, man, this eye keeps twitching. I don't even know if y'all can see that. I'm staying really still to see if y'all can see that. Y'all probably can't. You probably can't. It's fucking twitching like crazy. I feel it. Interesting. Right eye. The right side of your body standing for the divine masculine side, and divine masculine side in terms of your eye, anything acting up with your eye is your ability to see things. And so the ability to see something on the masculine side of things. So this whole Roe v. Wade thing has a lot of feminine energy about it for obvious reasons. But in terms of the rules and the policies and all of this, a lot of people are blaming or pointing fingers at the patriarchy, saying, you know, this is misogynistic, it's sexist, it's, you know, if you really cared about women or really cared about babies, you wouldn't do XYZ, or it wouldn't be this, that, you know, whatever. And so when I'm getting the eye twitch up here, it's interrupting the ability to see as it relates to that masculine patriarchal focus around this. So it's very interesting that that came up as we're looking at people being completely anxious and completely paranoid and feeling like something's gotta fucking give. So those things together, y'all, that's echoing what I was saying over there when I'm feeling like uprising energy. Now, I don't want to say uprising energy as in, you know, the Dark Ages kind of style with pitchforks and torches and stuff like that. There goes the fire reference again. Very odd. I don't necessarily mean that. We are in a modern era where people fight more with words now, and with their votes and things of that nature, and I just see a lot of that going down. So as people are freaking out about this, because again, the people who are requesting that I do an update on this are the people who are panicked about this, and so in some ways this reading is going to be kind of directed through that viewpoint, because of that. For those individuals, this is nowhere near the end, and I mean that in all the different ways, positive and negative. It's, you know, that the whole every action has an equal and opposite reaction law in physics. That's what this feels like. I feel like, okay, the pendulum swung this way and we're gonna go right back that way, with all the people that are like and so with every bit of fight that you see going down to quote unquote peel back towards the way things maybe were before, I'm seeing an equal and opposite force pushing back forward, and I am seeing that have some success. This card is in the upright position. Remember how I said up here there would still be some availability for that kind of cross-state travel, even if it happened in a loophole type of way. I'm seeing people manage things and make things move forward. As we're going here, it's like, yeah, this looks like a very confusing time. It looks like we're not able to move forward as a society in a way that we can all agree on in this, but this World card is upright. This is like, this stuff will pull to a close at some point. So I do see that there is, how do I put this? Oh, this is going to be kind of a controversial type of thing to say, so bear with me. Again, I'm just a girl reading cards. I'll allege just my interpretation here. But when this is like the universe is trying to tie loose ends, it's kind of like how I've been saying for literal years about really strange silver linings in really horrible circumstances. So remember for years when the pandemic hit and I was saying, yeah, horrible shit involved with that, horrible shit, and at the same time it taught us what wasn't fair and equitable in education, so we had to work to better that. It taught us what wasn't working and fair and equitable in terms of telehealth, so we had to work on that, you know, and so on and so forth. The horrible, terrible, awful things happening that happened to George Floyd and others around that time put again an emphasis into our forefront about how we cannot be allowing things like this, and what are we going to do about it, you know, and it made us have that in our face in a way you can't escape from, so it has to be acknowledged and it has to be addressed. This is another layer of that. Remember how I said in 2020 that we were going to have 4 years of like ramping up elevated real life examples of this pattern happening over and over and over, bringing things to our face in a way that it cannot be ignored anymore and it can't go unacknowledged anymore. It has to be faced and dealt with. This is another one of those situations that in some way there was something about it that was at a weird place of unrest, and things had to be faced and dealt with. And so now this is like it's coming full circle. We are amplifying the things that were in place that were wrong or not good enough in such a way that now the discussions have to be had. The discussions about life and death have to be had. The discussions about women's rights have to be had. The discussions about healthcare and what healthcare is considered a right versus what types of healthcare might only be considered privilege. Those things have to be face value head on addressed in ways that people maybe have overlooked them. As a point, they're putting in my head, there are certain things about Roe v. Wade, that in repealing it, upending it, actually affects far and wide more than just the A service that I'm not allowed to say on here, in ways that people who consider themselves pro-life may be like, uh-oh, I don't want those things to dial backwards. I only want the A service word to dial backwards, but I don't want these things to dial backwards too. Shit. We're going to have to get specific about what we do want and don't want, and we're going to have to change the language around this, and this isn't okay, and this is, and it's going to start conversations for people to get very clear about things that were otherwise a little bit too wishy-washy and under the rug, possibly even taboo, not priority before. Is all this making sense? I really fucking hope so, because this is hard to explain. This is not, the most black and white type of topic. And again, this is a heavily contentious and emotional topic, and I'm trying my best to be sensitive to that on all sides here. So in a way, the silver lining is now this is an inescapable forefront thing in our 50-yard line that we absolutely have to acknowledge and address piece by fucking piece. Is that comfortable? No. Does that mean that there will be casualties as byproducts of this process? Unfortunately, yeah. At the end of the day, the spirit guides see this overall process as a good thing, as a means to an end to aid and assist in the ascension process and evolution process of our society, if that makes sense. I know we're still in a state of unrest and confusion and shock and whatever else, lots of emotions about this. We may not be ready to look at potential silver lining, bigger picture, yada yada stuff yet. We may be like, fuck you for saying that. Read the room. We're not ready. Totally get it. Totally get it. Just a girl reading cards. They put it down here, so I can't ignore it. Gotta say it. If you ain't ready to hear it now, file it in a box, put it away to the back, pull it up later when you are. Okay? So let me pull these up and reshuffle them back in the deck, get some more things that we can know about what's coming up based on this. Anything that we can know about what's coming up based on this. Okay, so for example, let's see, what questions have people been asking me? I'm trying to make sure I'm answering all your questions. People have been asking me, okay, is this going to have a slippery slope effect as it relates to like birth control, things like same-sex marriage, stuff like that. So in terms of any information we could think of slippery slope, I'm looking down, it's literally 555. Hold on, let me see if I can get this for y'all. Look, 555 on the clock right now. Literally, y'all saw that. 555 on the clock, Tuesday, June 28th, 5:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday, June 28th. At this moment, 555 and angel numbers. Well, I can tell you what it means, but I'll read it exactly to you because I know some people like really want you to fucking have the exacts. Man, do y'all see that there's a lot of reading between the lines that's coming up in this reading where, you know, oh, here's an eye twitch and that's a sign and that's how this flows into this. And oh, now 555 and that's a sign and that's how this flows into this. 555 says in angel numbers, major changes and significant transformations are here for you. You have an opportunity to break out of the chrysalis and uncover the amazing life you truly deserve. Literally, 555. Fucking light, come here. See, major changes and significant transformations are here for you. You have an opportunity to break out of the chrysalis and uncover the amazing life you truly deserve. So as I'm literally talking about this and you're hearing this, it's literally talking about the major changes and transformations, which is exactly what's going on here. I cannot make this shit up. I got dinged in a reading recently. I saw a comment on one of my old videos. I think it was a video about Chester Bennington or something like that. And people were like, you're so annoying saying I cannot make this shit up over and over and over. I know, I am annoying. I'm the worst. But I can't make this shit up. I mean, literally. How am I supposed to ignore these synchronicities and not act like it's not mind-blowing? It's fucking mind-blowing, to me anyway. I mean, hell, holy hell, did you see that? How the fuck was I supposed to time that out right now with all of this? I mean, seriously, come on. I gotta make mention of it, and I gotta drone on about it. So, it's a fucking thing. It's a fucking thing. These signs come up in private readings, too. All of y'all who've had private readings with me, y'all know, and we'll read through the signs as they come up in our private readings. I bet several of y'all, as we're sitting here, have had that happen. So yeah, if you want to book a private reading, BeasTalksAndTarot.com in the description box below. I got private readings. If you need an energy healing, an energy tune-up, I got Reiki Energy Healing. If you need some life coaching to get yourself back on track, I got that. I even have a way you can learn to read tarot like I read tarot. So all that on my website. Anywho, so people who are concerned that this is a slippery slope as it relates to birth control or same-sex marriage or things like that, what do we have to say about the future of that slippery slope potential, that fear, spirit guides? What do we have to say about that? Okay. Alrighty. Okay. Do I want any context cards on this? Not right now. Not right now. Okay, so with this, we are once again dropping down our messenger card here, our bottom line messenger card, and we're putting the Fool card in reverse next to the Star card up here. This is a very interesting kind of combination to set forth because this is feeling a little bit more on the serious and somewhat reckless side, while this is a bit more on the positive side. And so, again, we're seeing that weird juxtaposition between something that is serious, reckless, scary, right directly next to positive, new beginnings, open, We're seeing that again. We've seen that in the beginning as it relates to half of the population being excited about this, half of the population being scared and devastated by this. And we've seen this juxtaposition as it's talking about earlier with, yeah, all these things are horrible and terrible, and yet something here is going to come out of this that is meant to be overall a part of this, you know, societal ascension process. And so there's both sides of this. We even talked at the eye twitch about the divine feminine and the divine masculine, which do the yin yang thing. And so they're showing that here. There's light and dark in both ways to this, in both ways at all times. So this is not going to be an easy thing to separate out in terms of good, bad, whatever. It's going to be freaking complicated. But with this, they are showing some new beginnings, some new things on the horizon. And as we're seeing these kind of cards below it, it does look like there is truth to, how do I put this? There's truth to there being a movement of people looking to achieve that direction. So when people like for example, I feel like there are a good bit of people on the right that are like, no, all we're trying to do is just to take this back to the states so that each individual state has power, so that we don't, have too big a government. But we're not trying to come for marriage stuff. We're not trying to come for birth control stuff. We're not trying to, come on, it's okay, calm down, it's not that big, it's not that serious or whatever. And I see a lot of people saying things like that. To the other side's credit, granted, other side might be chicken littling too much, I don't know. But to that other side's credit, it does seem to be that there is at least some subset, some faction of the right, whatever, that does want it to go down that path of kind of pulling back this and now pulling back that and pulling back this as a part of their, conservative beliefs or whatever. So I do see that is a part of some of their plan. Are we able to paint them all with the wide brushstrokes? I don't necessarily see that that's something that we could accurately do. I think it's important to acknowledge that that's not crazy thinking for people to be like, well, I'm concerned about this slippery slope. It does look like there's some truth in that in terms of, potential hidden agendas or whatever. However, I don't necessarily see that being able to be completely actualized. We once again get that Sun card here, most positive card in the deck. And again, since this reading is more geared towards the people who were asking me to do this reading, which are people who are mostly scared and angry and frustrated and all of that, then the reading is going to more speak to their viewpoint, because I'm doing this in response to them. And so when I see the happiest card in the deck here, it more means directed to them, that I don't see a total, backslide into the dark ages, as some people will put it. I don't see that happening. And I believe I actually said that in the original Roe v. Wade reading that I did. Again, I don't know how long ago. Let me see if I can click on my thing and see what date. I did that on May 10th. So it's been almost 2 months since I did that reading. And I believe I said something similar to that then, that yes, there will be difficulties. Yes, things are going to get challenging. Yes, we might even see some stair steps further and beyond just this one decision. Definitely possible. But I don't see that, complete doom and gloom, Handmaid's Tale people, because again, I haven't seen it, but people say like, oh, that's the ultimate, sexist, misogynistic, dystopian, horrible, scary society that we could never allow ourselves in, and I'm so scared, whatever. I don't see that, level, scary, egregious, hands are tied thing being what ultimately comes of this. I don't see it being that bad. I see, again, in drawing back to what we looked at before with that World card and this bringing points of focus to our face to acknowledge and work on and address, this seems to me like a part of that pendulum swing. The equal and opposite reaction would be kicking in to advocate and voice what they want and all of that. Now, timeline for all of this is where this gets difficult to pin down, because spirit guides saying something happening soon versus something happening far away, they're not incarnated. Their idea of soon and far off is very different than ours sometimes. So is it possible that we could have a rough year, 2 years, 5 years, even 10 years of some kind of a, scary, like, are we going in a certain direction or whatever? Is that possible? It's possible. But what they're showing here in terms of outcome, resolution, where society winds up, ends up, I don't see it as actually going backwards. So you know how there's the phrase like, taking one step backwards but 2 steps forwards, and then maybe 1 backwards and then 2 forwards or whatever, and like, you know, some kind of a thing like that. It doesn't have to be those exact numbers or whatever, don't hold me to that, but you know what I mean about not, paths are not always completely linear like this. You know, it might be like where the overall curve is in this direction, but you go all these different ways along the ride, if that makes sense. That's what it's looking like right here for this. And so I see what people in that camp would consider additional setbacks. Yes. But I don't see that being what takes hold forever. So, you know, much to the chagrin of the people who are excited about this, being like, yes, this is the direction we need to go. This is the positive direction. I want this. It looks like those people are going to be happy for a time. They're going to be happy for a season. And when I say a season, I mean like a season of life, not a season like a literal season. But it doesn't look like they're ultimately maybe going to get exactly their way on that, because it does look like that the overall trend, you know, over the next handful of years or decades or whatever, it does look more progressive than conservative overall. So, you know, just throwing that out there. Does this make sense? I feel like I keep having to check in and having to ask, because this is not the easiest thing to put words to, especially if I'm trying to be inoffensive and respectful of, you know, wherever anybody might fall on this matter. So it's kind of akin to one side might win a handful of battles, but the other side will ultimately win the war. And that's what this looks like. It looks like this is a battle that was won for conservatives, and we will have more conservative battles won. But it looks like the more progressive idea of things will likely win the war. Don't know how long that'll take. Don't know what that'll look like. Don't know if people's ideas of what that would or should or could look like will change between now and then. But just throwing that out there for the people who've been worried and concerned. So I feel like there's so many different questions around this, so much that people could ask or want to unpack. We've already been talking for about 45 minutes now, which is intense, and it's getting to the point where it would probably be too long and people wouldn't even watch this. So I'm going to call it quits here for today. Again, if you'd like a private reading, website BeasTalksAndTarot.com below. Same with the Reiki Energy Healing or the life coaching or tarot tutoring. And if we need to do any other videos on this, then we can. This is just me trying to look into this the best I can with what I got right now. So it looks like overall, y'all, the spirit guides are just trying to help people find balance in their emotions around this. And I think that even came up in our Perk Squad. It did. In our Perk Squad weekly forecast this week, it did come up about balancing ourselves and about how do I put this? Let me find a little section of this. I won't read it all, in fairness to the Perk Squad folks, that, you know, I won't leak the whole thing that I have down here. But it says we want to keep our focus on only what is actually happening to us in the present moment and avoid catastrophizing, so that we don't get lost in the nitty-gritty horror stories that we create in our own minds about something. That only reacting to what is actually happening in the present moment to us directly so that we can avoid catastrophizing. There's more to it than that. That's just a one snippet of this entire, 3 paragraphs from this week's forecast for the Perk Squad. So again, if you want those weekly forecasts, you can join the Perk Squad with the blue button below or the link in the description box. But it's interesting that that kind of cleaves itself to making sense to this reading. And it's not to say that we're putting our heads in the sand. It's not to say that we would invalidate our emotions or that we would stifle what we really feel. It's just a matter of zooming out so that we don't miss the forest through the trees, and so that we can look at this from a 100-mile bird's eye view, so that our perspective is different as we're approaching this, so that it can affect us and we can be honest with ourselves without losing ourselves into it in an ungrounded way. So anywho, I'm gonna quit my rambling. I'm gonna end this video with a B-roll so that we can have puppies. We're gonna put some puppies at the end of this video. Puppy shenanigans to lift the spirits, make everybody happy, smile, see what the puppies have been up to, what kind of bullshit they're up to and doing. We're gonna put that up on here. And I will come at you soon. So don't be a stranger. Come back and see me, and I will talk at you later. Bye, love you, mean it. Bye, love you, mean it. You slept funny and you smashed that side of your face, the hair on that side of your face. This side looks normal, but this side looks smashed up and flat. Normal face. Weird flat face. Like a wind tunnel made of Joker. The Joker's cut mouth. The slow blink. Oh my God. Oh, Teddy. Funny. You need to go to a groomer. You need to go to a groomer. You alright, Scoot? Did you not want to be on the Squishmallow? You have fries. You didn't want to be on fries? You okay? You an okay boy? Yeah, you're okay. Why don't you want to be on fries? Let me see you, Teddy. Yeah, you have to stay out here because you annoy your siblings. They need to rest. No. Not now. They need to rest. Next thing I know, I turn over and I see this. Like, get on your fucking fries. You're making Bodhi feel listless. He looks depressed. I don't think he consents to this arrangement, Scooter. He looks depressed. His tail is wagging. Scooter, just get on your fucking fries, man. Do I need to go get the avocado Squishmallow, or do I need to get your mattress? I'm gonna get your mattress. Bodhi looks depressed. This looks like a strain on Bodhi. This is not good. What the hell, Scoot?